Hi everyone! How are you this morning? I'm doing pretty well, assuming it's morning in your part of the world when you're looking at it. It's actually evening here, but I post in the morning, so time gets tricky and, you know, a little timey-wimey or whatever, but, we'll see. Hi, my name is Kay, and this is my Cave of Possibilities. I have yarny nitty stuff to the left of me, cross-stitch stuff just over there off screen to the right of me, and here I am, stuck in the middle with you. I have had a really great, couple of weeks stitching and doing stuff. Cat management, if this is your first time here, there's a cat. Productive, quite productive past 2 weeks since I visited you all last. And we may as well just dive in. I'm going to forget half of what I want to say. Even though I did make notes, I'm still going to forget. Let's start with showing you my progress on Celtic Christmas. Here she is. I've stitched quite a bit on the small medallions here. They're all beaded except for this bottom one. Haven't quite got the beads on here. And then I started doing the beads over here because the beading thread was connected up here when I was almost done with this. And I just now noticed that I'm missing the little red bits here and here. So I need to put that in before I get any further. And then the Noel was not in at all. So I've done quite a bit since you saw her last. I am stitching her with the called for threads. Except I'm using a petite treasure braid for the gold instead of the called for DMC. And she is on a 28 count Arctic blue? No. Admiral blue? Navy blue? Not navy. I forgot. I'm going to have to look that up again. Anyway, a dark blue. A lovely, lovely dark blue. She's coming along really quite well. I keep saying if I just buckled down and got her done, she'd be done in no time at all, because right now there's some beading here and then 5 more lines of borders and beads. And really that's not very much at all, except mostly I haven't been inspired to work on her. But coming along really well. I am quite pleased. Let's see. We'll pause while I put her down and maybe sort things out because of the cat. The second project that I worked on has been our tried and true Colors of Water by that design house. It is German. I do not speak German, so I am not even going to embarrass myself and insult the Germans by trying to pronounce it. Here is sort of a color copy of what I'm working on, and I am working right up here in these 2 stitches, but since well, this is a project that Robin started before she passed away and asked that I finish it up, and so I have been working on it. And here in this corner is my little up arrow, but since my top stitch goes the opposite direction of Robin's, I have been stitching it on a 90-degree turn. And so I have put in, I think I finished up the little bits of white here and here, and then I filled in all of this, the gray for the block, and then since it's the same color, all of the gray here for those roses. And once I get this block done right here, that is the halfway point of this project. And so that'll be quite the milestone to finish up on. I think it's looking pretty good. This is a 36 count even weave of some sort, and I am stitching it with 1 strand of the called for silks over 2 strands on 36 count. So it's coming along quite nicely. Put that away. Let's see. 2 Saturdays ago, I guess it was time to go up to Layton and stitch with my northern Utah stitchy friends. they're an absolute delight, and I enjoy them so very, very much. And so I worked on Miss Valentine. Get her straightened up here. Here we go. I finished up the dark in the hearts and her sleeves, her shoulders, her hair, and then I started to put in the wings. I am really debating on the wings. I'm not a fan of how the variegation in the floss is. It's really strong. I don't know. I'm contemplating taking it out and either putting it in with a bright white. I did buy an iridescent petite treasure braid that I could, you know, go over it with. So do a half stitch with the bright white and then the half stitch with the iridescent. I think that would look lovely. I'm dreading pulling all that out because that is quite a lot of stitching. This is a 32 count Atomic Fabrics, I'm going to call Purple Fizz, or Grape Fizz, something like that. Fizzy Fizz is definitely in the name. But other than the wings, I think she's coming along nicely. May not work on her a heck of a lot over the next cycle, the next couple of weeks. Let's see. Get her tucked away. Moved over. Very good. Now, when was it? I forget. Not too long ago. Last week sometime? 2 weeks ago? Something like that. Anyway, Long Dog Sampler put up this freeway. May we live in slightly less interesting times. So I thought, oh, this is a fun, and I've never done a long dog. And you know how the ladies are talking about having a project where they just put the tails of your stitches in, where you've still got 4 or 5 left to do. And so I thought that would be a good project for a tails project. So I hacked off a bunch of this white even weave that I picked up at off of a freebie table. 28 count white even weave. Yep. Anyway, started it with some of my tails that I was digging out of my little Ort jar and stitching them along, and I didn't really like it. It just didn't fit. And so then I pulled all that out and on this and went hunting through my stash, and I have a couple skeins of, this is Northern Lights by Live and Die LA. It's really pretty with flashes of the dark blues and the purples, and really quite nice. I like it. So I thought, well, we'll use that. That should be pretty good, and it is pretty good. So I got these 2 corners stitched in, and I had unrolled this. It's currently held together by a couple of bobby pins, and unrolled it, and then I was looking at the cut of the fabric, and I measured it again, and I did my math, el calculator, on the, to make sure that I had mathed it correctly, and I had not mathed it correctly, and it is not going to fit on that cut of fabric. Bummer. I cut it wrong or mathed it wrong. I'm not really sure. So I put that down in annoyance and disgust, which is why it hasn't gone any further than it has, and went and rummaged through all of my fabrics. Since the floss is called Northern Lights, I thought, well, let's do sort of an Aurora Borealis type thing, and there's not any green in there, so I thought we'll use a green fabric to get the green in. So here's my next attempt on an 18 count Ada. This is an old fabric spearmint from Fabrics by LJ. I don't think he's dyed since 2019, DYE, since 2019, so but I didn't like the coverage of the 1 strand over 1 square. It's too gapey to me, so you can see there where I just cut it off where I was, and I put it down in more disgust and more annoyance because that wasn't going to work. So it was back to the stash to look at all the things and try to figure out what I wanted to do and this and that and the other. And so I came up with, this is where we are and this is what it's going to be. This is As You Wish by Red Thicket Fabrics. I always put the fabric on the end even though she's just Red Thicket. You can find her online. Pretty fast shipping. Anyway, this is As You Wish. I think I said that already. 32 count, which is my standard. 2 strands of floss over 2 threads. And I didn't cut it until I had found the bottom of the thing. So there we go. I've put the top corner and the bottom corner, and this is long enough, way longer, because I did the math right, than what the design needs or will be. And then I put the this little white thing across the center stitches when I got there. I don't know if you can see, but up here at the top I did them on a diagonal going one way, and then it switches in the middle so that down here in this corner it's echoing out the other way. So when I hit the center over here, we'll switch directions in the center here. So if it was like a center, it would be sort of whirlpooling out from the center, but you'll mostly see it on the edges of the design because apparently I'm just overachieving it today. But anyway, this is what I have put together. Not a tails project like I had originally thought. I am going to, I'll probably need to sit down and pick out these stitches so I can return that to stash and it'll make sense. And then I like to pull out these ones so I can reclaim the floss. I think I have plenty of floss because I have 50 yards of this. This is a 25 yard put up, and I have another 25 yard put up of the same thing. And I think this is one of my stitches. It's definitely a WIP and over 200 stitches, so it qualifies for Lori Ogden Stitcher. She's going to be doing a WIP Maynia game for us in May. Maynia May, right? So I'm thinking for the rules I know so far is you need 4 WIPs and you get points for working on your WIP, and you need to work on the WIPs for 7 days for it to count, and at least half an hour on any given day for it to count for the points. Now we have how the world turns quite quickly is I have a cruise coming up here in May, so that I need to talk to her and figure out what we're going to do in May, because for a week I'll be on a cruise ship with no internet access. So that is that. We'll tell the story about the cruise. So Dad went to lunch with one of my brothers on like Wednesday of last week, so it's only been like a week. And my brother said that he was taking his little family on a cruise, just a close one, kind of a short one, see if they would like it, if this is something the family would like to do for their family vacations. And so Dad came home and he was pricing out the cruise, seeing how expensive it was. Royal Caribbean has a thing where you can select your room cabin or whatever and hold it for 24 hours. No, not 24, 48 hours. So, I put a courtesy hold on it. So he did that, and I was in here stitching away, minding my own business, and I hear down the hall where Mom and Dad are in the front room or the living room talking, and I hear the magic words cruise, because I do love a cruise. And so I get up and I wander in there and I'm like, what are you talking about, this cruise thing? And so that's when they told me the story. So I sit down and I research it and I'm like, heck yeah, we're going. quite reasonably priced. My sister and I were just gonna slum it in an inside. We could have, you know, lived it up a little bit on a balcony, but I thought I'd try an inside, see how I like that. So that should be a lot of fun. And then we called my other brother to see if they could get the time off and come with us and really make it a full-time family vacation. Crazy, crazy. It's just a 7-night cruise out of the Port of Los Angeles, which is really in San Pedro. And we're doing Ensenada, Cabo, and Mazatlan. In Mazatlan, there was an excursion, something about going to see the luchadores, or lucha libre wrestlers. We just know them as the luchadores. Anyway, so that is going to be some silly, stupid fun. So I signed my sister and I up for that excursion and sushi making. So looking forward to that. Really, really looking forward to that one. So anyway, my speaking of backing it up a bit for Ogden Stitcher's WIP Maynia games. I have the Colors of Water for that one. The Long Dog Sampler that I just started for that one. There's Inspiration by Rosewood Manor. She's in a bag here. I haven't touched her in a year and a bit, so she would be a good one to pull out and get some stitching on. And then I need one more, and I'm thinking maybe it will be the Pansy Sampler from Samplers Not Forgotten. Put 200 stitches in that, so it'll be ready to go for that WIP Maynia. And then I guess I could bring, Wishful Thinking, the Long Dog would be the best one to take on the cruise, since it's just one floss, simple stitching. That would probably be the best option there. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of doing there. And so that is that. A few random things came in the mail after the Long Dog fail for a Tails type project. I picked up this Ink Circles little strawberry mandala. We'll see if that works for a Tails project. I'll probably put it on the white even weave fabric once I pull out all of the stitching. And then I bought one more set of patterns from Nashville, the Stitcher's Garden Berries. So these are really cute. Got that. I downloaded Hope Anchors the Season from Primrose Cottage, designed for Katie's husband, who has a cancer diagnosis, for that one. And then lastly, Kitty, you're in the way. I need you to move. Go over there. Way back in January, maybe? It had to have been January, when ICE was pulling their shenanigans in Minneapolis, and shenanigans continue, and I am not in a favor. Valerie, Live and Die LA, did a special color with proceeds donated to immigrant services and law firms and stuff. So I picked up she did a fabric and a floss, and I got one of each. I don't remember how many yards. That looks like a 25-yard put-up. Is that what it is? Yep, a 25-yard put-up. But it just arrived today, and it is a very gorgeous lavendery, purpley, blue, model-y thing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Entitled Ice Out. So there we go. Oh, I worked on my shawl. Nope, that's a lie. I did not work on my shawl. I worked on my blanket. We have hit a milestone, you guys. It was sitting here, so I could work on it easily. I'll hold it up. You see that little bump right there? You see that little bump right there? This is the change from increasing to decreasing. We have started the downward slope. So it is time. This thing will get smaller and smaller over time. right now. It is a big, honkin', massive amount of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of yarn. It's almost a weighted blanket when it sits in my lap. It's quite cozy when I'm working on it. So, let's see. What have I done? This is where I was the last time I talked to you. So it came up here. And then this I just used to mark the front of the front of the blanket, so I don't start doing the wrong, because the right side rows are different than the wrong side rows, and it's to make sure that I keep doing the right side rows on the right side and the wrong side rows on the wrong side. Clear as mud. So I've made a little progress on that. I have just joined another color, kind of a dark purpley, blacky something or another. That looks good. I think that's everything, little cat. That's my news. I'm going on a cruise. Super excited about that. And that's everything. I hope you guys are doing okay. Midterms are coming up. If you aren't already registered to vote, I encourage you to go and do so before our friends in Congress pass the Save Voter Suppression Act, so you cannot register to vote as easily as you can now, even though research has shown that voter fraud is minuscule, like 0.5 leading zeros and a 1. That is a very extremely small number. Yeah, not a fan. Write your senators, write your representatives. Okay. Political soapbox right there. Okay, really, I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, one step forward, my friends, one step up. Love your neighbor. Hugs and stitches, everyone. Bye.